Hello everyone, and welcome to this Specialist Trading educational presentation. Now today I want to talk to you about a great plan for trading, most especially in the markets that we're having today with these big swings and these big moves. I'm going to share with you two steps that can make up a really nice trading plan. Step one is obviously trading a winning strategy. Step two is protecting your profits once you're in the trade with that particular strategy. The only trouble is most traders usually only have one of these two requirements. For example, you may have a winning strategy that does very well, but where you get out, how you exit, really makes all the difference if you have step one. And many times what's happening is you're giving back a lot of your profits and you're not able to capture them. Or you may have step two, where you have a great plan for protecting yourself if you do have a winning trade, but those are far and few in between because your strategy really isn't winning, it's not very profitable, and you're just most of the time going through a series of losses. Let me share with you what happens to most traders. If you look at this chart right here, here's a chart in LAD. Let's say you have a pretty nice strategy. For example, on this nice upward move here, your strategy says that you should be buying. So you decide to jump in and buy right here. It's a breakout trade. Okay? And then in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you have a very nice profit. But if you don't have step two in place where you're able to protect those profits, this is what usually happens. You give back a good portion. In this case, about 2/3 of your profit was lost in a matter of days. Now today, I'm going to share with you not only step one, where you could have captured and actually bought at the exact same price, but also step two, which would have had you exiting right here, and you could have protected this nice trade and potentially captured upwards of 30 points before the trend started to change downward. Now I know a lot of you would say, well, Steve, I'm not that type of a trader. I kind of just go by feel, and I kind of have to be taught and kind of mentored along the way. And I know you're not able to sit next to me through all my trades, so how would I be able to trade something like this? Well, Pro Trader Strategies and I developed the perfect tool to help you trade methods like this. This is our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform. It's an educational platform that actually teaches traders how to trade. So all of the examples I'm going to be sharing with you today will be displayed coming from our platform, and you'll be able to see how simple it is to implement this process using our platform. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading, and you're in for a real treat today because about a month ago I presented this exact same webinar, and we were just really had a lot of response on the first time I presented this, which once again about a month ago, where we had so many students asking for me to replay this or do it again because they really liked the format behind this particular webinar. So we're representing this again just to get you involved and to have you understand how to apply this. This is really fast becoming one of our most, I would say, if not the most popular, but actually most used tool we have now next to the PET-D. And this is the tool I'm going to be sharing with you today. It's exclusively only found on the platform that I developed with Pro Trader Strategies, and I'll show you how simple it is to apply. Now remember, we are first and foremost an educational company, so even though everything is implemented easily enough on our platform with just one click of your mouse, we're more about teaching you how to apply this and teaching you ways in which to trade so that really you are a part of the process. We do not teach nor do we trade systems at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. Why? Because a system takes you out of the game. It really just does all the work for you and tells you where to buy, where to sell, and that's it. The only fault with systems is that they eventually don't work. They'll blow up. And the reason is you're not a part of the process. I've traded and I've even taught systems in the past, and some of them went back 10 or 20 years with phenomenal numbers and phenomenal results and statistics, and each and every one of them eventually blew up when the market changed. So the only thing that will save you when the market changes environments is your input. That's why we don't teach nor trade systems. Sure, we have rule-based methods, but we still make you a part of the process. And I'm going to share with you just one of those ways in which to apply that process in today's webinar. Now, before we begin, as always, we are first required by law to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using these particular steps, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, please remember, since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. We have a good crowd here today, a lot of new names, so I'd like to invite each and every one of you to follow us on Twitter if you haven't done so already. There's our handle. I would suggest copying that down, abbreviation for specialist training. Every day I post different information on a daily basis, anywhere from signals our strategies have generated to little bits of edges that I've found or accumulated in my 40 plus years of trading, to little bits of financial wisdom as well. So lots of great free educational information. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now remember, we're a little bit different from other presentations you may have gone to in the past, in that our only goal is simply to educate you. We are first and foremost educators. Our goal is not to force feed you signals. It's not to spit out buy and sell signals on a nightly basis and just have you blindly follow along. Once again, we don't believe in that, and we actually feel that that's one of the reasons why most traders fail. You should be a part of the process. You should be making your own trading decisions. And most students say, well, Steve, I don't know how to do that. I don't have enough experience. I wasn't trained that way. I don't have enough confidence. And, the methods I usually use, they fail. So the reason most students will blindly follow someone else is they just don't feel confident enough to make their own decisions. Well, the thing that does make you confident is sound fundamental education. These are edges, these are tips, techniques, and strategies that have stood the test of time. And this is basically the service we provide. We provide all our students with strategies, techniques, methods that I've accumulated in my 43 years of trading. And I teach you along the way exactly how to use them in different ways so that they'll fit your nature. So my goal, as you see here, is not to force feed you signals, not to tell you what I think the market's going to do, if it's going to keep going higher or keep going lower the way other websites do. We don't believe in that. You have to make those decisions on your own. My only goal is simply to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. This is the same edge that was taught to me and has sustained me now, going on 4 decades, and hopefully we'll be able to sustain that edge in you as well. Now, since this is going to be an educational class today, remember, ask me as many questions as you like, but please ask the questions at the end. I don't want to stop for every slide. Many times, if you have a question, it will be answered on the very next slide. So if you do happen to have a question, just kindly write it down or try to remember it. I promise I will get to each and every one of your questions at the end of this presentation. This won't be very long, probably in the next 20, 25 minutes. We'll go into the question and answer portion. The only question I will answer now is this being recorded? Yes, it is. So if you have to leave early, or if you're having technical issues, don't worry. I will send each and every one of you a link to this recording today so you can watch it at your own leisure, okay? All right, with that stated, I want to first start out by sharing with you that there is a simple two-step process that you must follow. This is the two-step approach that we talked about earlier. Firstly, you have to have a strategy, a method, or a technique that has a little of an edge to it, that has some winning edge to it. Because all you have to do is be right maybe 50 to 60% of the time, and you'll still be okay. So you need something with an edge. So what we tell our students, especially since this is a brand new tool we have that's shown really nice results, is to apply the PTS-XT Extreme Trend Indicator. Now, for those of you who have never heard of this before, it's been getting a lot of buzz. So many students have become students of ours trading this and given us tremendous testimonials about how much it's helped their trading. But for those of you who aren't familiar with it, what is the PTS-XT? It's a proprietary indicator designed to announce in advance when a strong trend is just about to begin. Now think of it. What if you knew well in advance that Tesla was going to take off and have a really strong trend, or Amazon to the upside, or even Kodak, okay, the way it just jumped off in the last couple of days? What if there were a tool that could really announce? All right, now remember, this is not guaranteed. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it works phenomenally. It's never failed. But it has really an uncanny ability to get you in advance when those strong trends are about to begin. Now, once you're in the strong trend, where are you going to get out? This is where students usually fail. They'll stay in too long, you start to get greedy, or you get out too soon, and you take a small little profit, and you see how much profit you could have captured if you stayed in a little longer. This is where our range extension exit levels come into play. They are auto-generated on our platform, and they're pre-formatted, so it's really simple to apply, and we teach you exactly what they are in the course. Now, if you're not familiar with them, they're a calculated exit method based on price ranges that are automatically generated for you. So there you have it. Step one, the strategy with a winning edge, and step two, a way in which to protect your profits using these range extensions. Now remember, if it all seems too difficult and a little wordy, don't worry. I'm going to show you a lot of examples. But remember, everything is already auto-identified on our PTS Primo charting platform in advance. So everything is just one click away. Think of it. You have all these expert tools at your fingertips once you have our platform. It's right there. Let me show you how simple it is to apply, okay? All right, so now that you understand the 1-2 approach, let's begin today's educational presentation. We're going to go through a step-by-step process just to show you how simple it is to apply all this on the PTS Primo charting platform. All right, step 1, apply the new PTS-XT indicator. So how would you do that on a platform? Well, once you open it up, let's say we're looking at LED once again. You go on the top here to our green strategy tab. This is where we have all our methods, all our techniques and strategies, okay? And what you want to do is identify and locate the PTS-XT Extreme Trend tab. All you do is click that on. You'll see a drop-down menu. Now, there are different ways to view it. Let's click on the most popular, which is the highlighted signal. Now, what this does is once it identifies a bar that it assumes is the beginning of an extreme trend, either to the upside or the downside, it will highlight that bar or place a block around it of a color. If it's going higher, it will place a yellow block around it. Okay, now you can change the colors to these if you want it to be green, if you want it to be orange. It's up to you. But yellow seems to be the most extreme that you're having. It's a nice warning that you're having a nice upward move. Okay, so that's step 1. And as we see, this bar right here highlighted this and squared it off around there. Now step 2 simply says buy on the close of the first yellow colored block bar. So obviously that was this bar right here, so you're going to buy right here on the close. All right, it's that simple. Now, as we see later on the trade unfolding, not much has really happened. It's not going down, but what happened to this extreme trend? It hasn't taken place yet. Pretty much just going sideways. But as we see, as the trade is unfolded, we continue to have this yellow block saying that it's still activated according to the PTS-XT Extreme. All right. Now, here we go on to step 3. We want to click on the top bottom 25% signal arrow. So what exactly is that and where do we find that on the platform? Once again, when we're looking for all these things, all we have to do is simply go onto the platform right here where the top bottom 25% is. We click this on and we just click on signal arrows in the drop-down menu. This will give us a series of arrows. Now, this tool simply identifies bars that close either in the top or bottom 25% of their range. This is a great tool because it helps determine what the short-term trend is. And we share this with you in the course. But for right now, we're going to use it for something entirely different. All we want to do is see these arrows being generated. You see these arrows are generated outside of the block. And the first arrow that is generated inside the block, that's the one we're interested in, all right? You see the first arrow was generated on the very first bar. Okay, so we want to double click on that first highlighted signal arrow, and in the small box that appears all of a sudden, we're just going to click on range extension exits, because that's why we want to click on these arrows, because they will give us the ability to click on the exit levels. So we'll double click this on. Remember the first one, as you see here, there was another arrow here, but it's the very first one we see, double click. We'll see a drop-down menu, click on range extension exits, and now all of a sudden they magically appear. These are the different exit levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4th level. Now this whole process I just explained to you took about 5 minutes for me to go through very slowly. Once you get the hang of it on our platform, it'll probably take you less than 10, 15 seconds to do. And you can find out all this information even prior to even triggering the trade. So you'll know exactly where you want to enter, basically on the close. You can do this 5 minutes before the close. And you can pretty much click on where the exit levels are going to be. And you'll know exactly what the different levels are and where you can get out if you'd like to. Now, here are the different exit levels. Let me share with you just a few different types of ways in which to execute with them. A lot of our students who like to get in and out of trades quickly will say, well, Steve, I'm going to exit on the very first one, okay? Now, if we are looking at risk-reward ratios, you're basically going to be making a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, because if you put your stop anywhere below here, you're basically going to be making the same amount that you risk. All right, now a lot of students say, well, I need a little bit better risk-reward ratio than that. So what you may want to do is exit right here. This will give you double the amount of risk. So if you're risking, X, you'll make double the amount of X right here. If you get out at the third level, you'll make 3 times the amount you're risking, and the fourth level, 4 times the amount of risking. Okay, so you see how that will increase your risk-reward ratio. Now, there are dozens of ways in which to apply this. Some of our students like to exit a little bit at each level. Still, other students will say, well, you know what? When we get up to this level, I'll move my stop to unchanged. And we get up to the second level, I'll move my stop to the first level, and so on, and just keep dragging your stop up. What we want to suggest to all of our students is mainly when you get up to the third and fourth level, that's where you should start to seriously consider exiting the trade altogether. If anything, you should be out of the trade altogether at the fourth and final level, because the range extensions will only generate 4 levels, okay? So you see how I've just given you a number of ways in which to apply this. Remember, you are in charge, not us. I'm not telling you this is the only way to trade it. I'm sharing with you a number of different variables and options for you to decide. Ultimately, how you decide is the best way to trade this, not the way I'm telling you how to trade it. I'm not even going to approach how one trade should be. It's ultimately your choice. Once again, we have a lot of students who like to trade a lot of times. They don't want to sit and wait for a trade to unfold. They don't want to wait a month. They want to get in and out of a trade in a week. So if that fits your nature, obviously you'll want to get out at exit level 1. If you're more of a swing trader, you use 1 and 2. And if you're more of a longer term trader, you use 3 and 4. But ultimately, we want to get out of everything by the 4th level, either using the 3rd or 4th level, okay? So let's see how this would have unfolded. If, let's say for all intents and purposes, in this presentation, we're only going to use the 4th level because we want to get as much bang for our buck. That's the type of trader we are. Well, we would have waited about a month or so, 3 weeks or so, and ultimately we would have exited at the 4th level and taken just about a 30-point gain. Not a bad trade, right? And look what happened after that. This is why we say, even though it's not guaranteed, and even though you will see instances where it doesn't apply, many times, it's been my experience using this technique for almost 4 decades now, you'll get up to the 4th level and the trend will change. So it's a good idea, especially in the beginning when you're using these, to get out. That's a suggestion, but ultimately you can do whatever you'd like, okay? So that's the process. You see how simple this is? Step 1, apply the PTS-XT. Look for the yellow block around the first bar. Once you find that, click on the top bottom 25%, click on signal arrows, and the first arrow that appears in that block, you double click it on, and then click on range extension exits, and they'll automatically appear. Then you can decide how you want to exit. It's that simple. It takes all the guesswork out, but remember, we're giving you all these different variables. Ultimately, it's your choice, not ours, how to enter, how to exit. Our suggestion is you exit on the close, but sure, you could put a lower limit here. You would have bought on the next day. Or you could have decided, well, this is too much risk because I would have placed my stop down here. I don't want to take this trade. That's fine. It's ultimately up to you. All right, so let's look at some more PTS-XT signals. Some of these mostly happened within the last month in June. But remember, this is a replay that a lot of our students wanted, so we want to share with you this. Once again, a lot of people missed this particular method and heard about it in this particular presentation. Okay, so we're looking at APTV. All right, here's our first bar. So we would have bought using this trading plan. Remember, there are just multiple types of trading plans, but using this particular one, you would have bought on the close. And we have the first top bottom 25% arrow once again on the first bar. So we double click that on. It gives us our exit levels. Now, for all intents and purposes, we're just going to use the 4th exit level for this particular presentation. And ultimately, about 2 to 3 weeks later, we would have exited with a nice 14-point gain in just about 2 or 3 weeks almost, okay? Not a bad little trade. Now, most students at this point say, well, Steve, that's not fair, though. Look at it, kept going higher. I mean, how come you got me out so soon and I could have made an extra couple of points? Well, sure. And what if you had waited and held on and pretty soon you gave away all your profit? See, this is why you have to protect your profits. This is why it's so important to use these exit levels, but to use them with some discipline so that you don't get too cocky, because so many times students get very, very overconfident. They'll say, well, gosh, I made such a quick profit. I'm going to, go for as much as I can. If anything at all, you should use these range extensions at least to take a little bit of your profit off the table, okay? So if you're not going to exit your entire position at the 4th level, which we suggest, at least sell a little bit there. Here's another example where you would have exited at the fourth level for a quick 15-point gain in just about a little over a week. And look what happened. Had you stayed in, you would have given it all back in THG. As we look at CDW, all right, here's where we would have entered on the first bar, okay? This was on the 28th of May coming into June last month. Now, you would have entered, and you didn't have an arrow there, but the arrow appeared on the second bar. So this is where you base the range extensions off of. Now, you would have exited right here for a nice 15-point gain in just about a week. The next day, it would have gone higher. This is where most students, beginning students, get greedy and say, how come I got out so early? Well, if you waited about 3 or 4 more days, you would have been saying, why didn't I get out? As we look at BFAM, okay, here we have the very first bar that's blocked off in yellow. It already generated an up arrow, so we use that to auto-identify the 4 exits. Now, remember, if you wanted to trade and get in and out quickly, you could have purchased on the close and gotten out at the first level. Or you could have sold a little at the first level, a little at the second level, and maybe out everything at third level. But if you're going for the fourth level, you waited 1 more day, and then ultimately you would have had a nicer exit because it gapped up. Now, you would have exited right here for 15 points. It closed higher. The next day it went even higher, but look what happened once again. Here's a nice example, and here's an example where many times you have to wait to produce the exit levels. For example, you would have entered on the very first blocked bar right here. And look how many bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 6th bar, that's where the first arrow appears. So this is one of the things you have to take into consideration when you're using this technique, that you may have to wait a while before you know what your exit levels are. Now remember, this is just one of the different trading plans. There are other ways to exit that we teach in the course. There are other ways to enter that we teach in the course. There are numerous different ways. But for right now, we're just teaching you one trading plan. So with this trading plan, many times you may have to wait, but ultimately there's the first arrow bar. So you double click that, and that's what generated these levels. You could have exited the first, second, or third, but if you held off for the fourth, you would have had a nice gap up opening and exited 18 points. Great place to exit because a week later, the profit was totally gone. See, this is what we mean. You want to have step 1, a winning edge. That's your strategy. That's when using the PTS-XT. It really is a winning edge. We have so many students that we just, initiated this new indicator just, 6 months ago. And already it's had tremendous testimonials from my students around the world who've really done well with it. And now we're putting a little bit more structure to it by sharing with you these different exit levels so you can protect those profits. Here's another example, exiting at the 4th final level. In a little over a week, you made 19 points. Once again, if you would have gotten greedy, you would have said, wow, Steve, if I held on, I would have made an extra 5 or so points. Well, sure. And if you held on even more, you would have given everything back and most likely had a loss. So you have to take a profit when it's there. We're not saying you have to exit everything. This is a suggestion. Remember, you have to trade according to your own means. But when you get up to that 4th level, you have to be very careful on protecting everything. Here's an example in CB, all right? Once again, because we have the arrow on the first bar and because we're going long right here, we already know right off the bat where our exits are. So there's really not a lot of thinking in that. That's what I've always told students. If you are trading correctly, it's almost very boring. It's like fishing. You basically cast your line and you just wait. In other words, you know what your exit levels are. You've decided where you're getting out, or whatever exit level you want. You know where your entry was. You've already have some type of stop. You're using a very generic stop. It's just below the entry bar. And you just kind of sit and wait. Now, if you're the type of trader who likes to get in and out and trade a lot, you would have already exited right here for a nice little gain. All right, probably about 3 to 4 points or 5 points maybe. If you wanted to hold on, well, you would have had to wait a little longer. But ultimately, if you use the 4th exit, you would have exited here on the gap up again just about a month ago. It made 21 points. Had you held on, look what happened. Just about lose almost all of your profit. Okay. This is what happens to traders, especially beginning traders. They get very cocky, they get very overconfident, they think they've got it all figured out, but they don't take into consideration step 2, which is protecting your profit, because anything can happen in the markets. Trust me, I've learned the hard way with many of my beginning stages. I had tremendous profits and I would give them all back. So you have to take some of your profits at least off the table. All right, another example of where you had to wait a little bit, but ultimately on the very first arrow, about 3 or 4 days later, that's where you generated your exit levels. You would have exited for a nice 27-point gain just about 3 weeks later, prior to the bottom falling out. That was in DE. Let's look at AMP, okay? Once again, on the second bar, that's where we generated the exit levels. Why? Because that's where the arrow was. Remember, the way you generate the exit levels is wait for the first top bottom 25% arrow. Once that appears in the block, double click that on, and in the little menu you see, click on exit levels, and it will automatically appear. Then you can decide exactly which level you want to get out at. Ultimately, if you waited for the 4th level, you would have exited with a nice 42-point gain in just about 3 weeks prior to the market falling out of bed and giving away all your profits. Let's look at TDG, okay, a more expensive stock as we go up the ladder, but as we see the same process, we're trading a $400 stock now. It makes no difference. We use the same process. We still use the same 4th level to exit. We got a nice little exit here in mid-June that would have gained 125 points. Now, I know a lot of students say, well, Steve, I can't buy a $400 stock. We're not saying you have to buy the stock. Remember, that's your decision. We are not here to trade for you. We're here to teach you how to trade. We're just sharing with you high probability setups. If you want to decide to get in using options, you can do that. We're not an option course. So we're not going to tell you, well, you have to buy the January 500s, or we're not going to tell you which spread to get involved in. No, that's up to you to decide. Remember, you're in charge of your trading process. We are in charge of teaching you high probability setups so that you can implement your trading process. Now, as we go forward, let's take it up a notch and look at an even more expensive stock. Oh, I'm sorry, this is before we do that. Here's Casey. It's about a $150 stock. The same process approaches. In about, I'd say, less than a week, you made 19 points. Now, look what happens. This is the best of both worlds. You made 19 points. You're out. The stock falls out of bed, okay? Now, once you're out of the block, as we are here in mid-June, just about a month ago, you're not trading. If you're using the PTS-XT, we're not trading. And look at this chop back here. This is where a lot of students were losing money before. We only want to trade when a block appears. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, does this only work when the market's going up? What about when the market changes? Will it enable us to go short? Sure. We just don't have a lot of examples because the market, as we know, has been going straight up for the last 2 or 3 months. But in this particular stock, coming into July, look what happened. We had the first bar outlined kind of a reddish orange. That's the signal. That's the block that tells you that you have most likely an extreme trend to the downside. So you would do the same process. Let's say you wanted to buy the puts. On the close of the first bar, you'd buy the puts. Or if you were lucky enough to have enough money in your capital in your account, you'd short the stock. And then right here in the first top bottom 25% arrow to the downside, you double click that on and it would auto generate the exit level. So now you know automatically where these exit levels are. And you made a quick 19 points in roughly about a week. And using this technique, you would have made a quick 7 points, or roughly about 25, 26 points going both ways, buying as well as selling. Here's another example in Coke, C-O-K-E. Once again, you had the first bar that was blocked in reddish orange, and it was a top bottom 25% arrow included. So you automatically know where the levels are. Now, according to this chart, we can only see 3. I know there are a total of 4, but it's a little bit lower. But using these first 3, we automatically know that we can, if we're the type of trader that likes to get in and out quickly, we're going to use the first exit level, okay? We're going to use that very quickly and get out. If we want to stay in for a swing trade, we'll use 2 or 3. Ultimately, remember, we said that you should be deciding to get out either at the 3rd level or ultimately at the 4th level. The reason is because the trend will change even to the downside as well. Now, as we see what happened here, we got down to the 3rd level before we changed and went back up. So had you decided to get out the 3rd level, you could have taken a nice 13-point gain. This is why we always say protect your profits, take a little off the table, because it's not guaranteed that you'll even get to the 4th exit level. As we look at Madison Square Garden, MSGS, all right, we have 4 levels here that we're able to see on the chart. You can decide which level you want to exit at. Had we chosen the 4th level, that's a nice 15-point gain in a little over a week. And as you can see, it started to bottom out right there. CME, well, we got out at the 4th level again for a nice 45-point gain. Okay, you could have had some nice puts on this, made a quick 45 points in 3 days, and ultimately you see it just kind of bottomed out and went higher. Okay, so it works the same way going lower. The 4th exit level will change the direction, no matter if you're going higher or lower. As we look at BKNG, all right, we know this is a very expensive $1,500, $1,800 stock, but once again, the same process is applied regardless of which direction, regardless of the price of the stock, okay? You would have sold right here on the very first blocked bar, waited for the first arrow, double click that on, and this generates the exit levels. If you wanted to use the 4th and final one, guess what? That's 480 points, almost 500 points in a couple of weeks, okay? You could have gotten some nice out-of-the-money puts for a very inexpensive price, and as you can see, it did continue to go lower. But look what happened. So in about 2 weeks, you're right back up to even higher. So why not at least protect yourself by getting out at the 4th level? Now we know that we've just focused on stocks. I don't want you to think you can only apply this process to stocks. We can apply this to any other market. Wherever there's an extreme trend, it could be futures, it could be currency pairs, it could be commodities. It makes no difference what we're trading, because every marketable every marketable advantage will either go up or down. So it makes no difference if you're trading, in this case, the 30-minute chart of the E-mini futures, okay? This was a little less than a month ago. As you see here, here's a 30-minute chart of the E-mini futures. Even if you're trading intraday, you can apply the PTS-XT extreme trend. You'd click this on and apply the highlighted area. And what do you have right here? Even though it looks like nothing really is happening, the tool is indicating that most likely it's announcing that a strong and extreme trend is about to take place to the upside. So we have seen through our studies and what students have told us that you have the highest probability if you enter on the first bar. So let's say we entered on the close of that bar. And then as we can see here, it starts to go in our direction. Now, had we used the arrows, well, we had to wait a couple of hours until the first one was generated. So we click this on, and it automatically generates our exit levels. So you can decide whatever level you'd like to trade on intraday basis. If we chose the 4th and final level, that's a nice 115-point gain. Now that's over $5,500, about $5,700, trading one contract that potentially you could have made. And look what happened. Once we got up to the 4th level, we kind of started to top out and head lower, okay? Let's look at another market. Let's look at a daily chart of the Canadian dollar. The same process applies. This time it was to the downside. We had our first block right here to the downside, and it was also accompanied with a down arrow. So we double click that on and we choose exit levels. Decide whichever exit level we want to exit at, and if we had chosen the last one, that's a nice 390 pip gain. That's nearly $4,000 per contract, per unit, okay? And look what happened right after that. Started to head up higher where you would have given back a lot of your gains. This is why it's so important to apply this process. Now, finally, we can look at commodities. You would have made 9 points on the upwards swing there on live cattle. This is a weekly chart, and 25 points to the downside on live cattle. So it makes absolutely no difference what time frame. In this case, this is a weekly chart. Makes no difference which direction, up or down. And makes no difference what market. We looked at stocks, we looked at intraday futures, we looked at currency pairs, and now we're looking at commodities. Wherever there is a trend, this tool can quickly identify if it's just kind of going sideways and peter out, or if it's going to be an extreme trend. And then you can apply the exit levels to help you with protecting your profits. So let's recap before we go to question and answer once again. First thing you want to do is apply the new PTS-XT. This is a proprietary indicator designed to announce in advance when a strong trend is just about to begin. Remember, the secret to the PTS-XT is not knowing what it's based off of. The secret is knowing how to trade with it. And that's what we teach you in the course. We teach you different ways in which to apply the indicator to help you trade according to your own means. Secondly, you want to apply the range extension. Now, this is just one way in which to exit, but range extensions are a calculated exit method, which once again, we teach you in the course. This is not black box. We teach you how to apply them and what they're based off of. And it's based on ranges, price ranges, and it's automatically generated. So we take the hard work out of it for you. You don't have to figure it out on your calculator and put these exit levels, mark them in with a pencil. You already know where they are with one-click access. So as we get ready to close here, I want to ask you, why wait any longer for success? You owe it to yourself to become a consistent trader. I know you're probably really struggling. You're sitting there saying, boy, the market has been going straight up. Why can't I get involved in this? Why is my strategy not generating the type of profits I should be getting? If you want to get on the next step to your evolution as a trader, get involved with the PTS-XT and the many different ways in which to trade it. Here's how to take advantage of this. We have a great special discount for all of you today for attending. We're going to give you the PTS-XT Extreme Trend. This is our way of trading in the express lane. This is going to be a great discount. Remember, it generates these high probability zones that you can apply to any market, any time frame. You can trade with your current strategy. Now remember, we just shared with you one trading plan. There are literally dozens of ways in which to apply it. If you have a trading strategy that you like, but it's just kind of producing minimal results, I can almost, really guarantee, you can't do it, but I can almost, for better sake, I could really say that it's going to do much better if you apply it with the PTS-XT Extreme Trend tool. Why? Because you'll be trading in this extreme trend, all right? It'll give you that confidence to pull the trigger. You can also build your own strategy. Why? Because it's great for market timing as well. Now, remember, it works great with the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the way to apply all these different things because we have in the course ways in which to apply entries, ways in which to apply stops, ways in which to apply your exit levels. So for that reason, we're going to throw in 12 months free of the PTS Primo charting platform. All right, we're going to make it so much easier for you because we're going to have all this included. You're going to get one-click access to the indicator. You're going to get the auto-generated exit levels, our enhanced buy-sell line. This tells you the overall trend in a matter of seconds. You'll have a tool I developed with Pro Trader Strategies that's getting really nice reviews from our students. It's called our Strength of Trend tool that has an uncanny ability to tell you when any market, any time frame, a steep trend is running out of gas or if it still has momentum left. One of the best things about our platform is that you have a signal scanner. So if you're not able to be in front of your computer 24/7, you can scan for signals for the next day. You can scan for PTS-XT signals. And so you can just look through the stocks. You don't have to look through hundreds of stocks every night. In a matter of moments, you'll be able to scan and see what some of the best ways in which you want to trade the PTS-XT. We also have another tool called our tracker tool. This is an entirely different way to trade with the PTS-XT. In the course, I share with you exactly how to use it. This is for traders who like to buy a little lower once a block has been generated. And then finally, you get great tech support. If for any reason you can't load up a chart or you're not sure how to get an indicator or a tool, the tech support will be there in a matter of moments to resolve the issue for you. This is all included. Remember, you're getting 12 months free of the platform along with your purchase of the PTS-XT indicator. Okay, so let's break it down. Now, normally this would cost you close to $5,000. It's that, I know this is one of our most expensive products, but it's that really strong of a tool that can really help you. We're going to drop that today. We're going to take off $500. You're going to save $500, but we're also going to throw in 12 months of the platform. Included with that, we're also going to throw in payment plans. So if you can't come up with $44.95 for a small deposit, you can still be up and running. So you don't have to come up with $44.95. You'll still get 12 months of the platform entirely free. You'll still have a small deposit that you only have to come up with, and you'll have a payment plan. But you'll be up and running as soon as today, all right? You'll get all of this information right at your fingertips. It's official. The PTS-XT is now the most popular trading tool among our students. We've had just rave testimonials, and that's why we're presenting this webinar once again in the month, because we've had so many students that want to see it again and want to see exactly what this process is. Take advantage of this discount, okay? Contact Pro Trader Strategies. I developed the platform with them. They are in charge of tech support as well as all the discounts. If you call them at 310-598-6677, they can tell you and give you some type of idea of what you would need in order to put a small deposit down and construct a payment plan. So there's absolutely no obligation. They will tell you over the phone, this is all you need to put down, and you can be up and running as early as today. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the information link. It'll take you to the information page if you want to get some more information on the indicator as well as the discount. I've just posted it live in the chat box. So if you are interested in signing up for the particular discount we have, there is a link posted on the chat box as well. Now, I said I would answer any question that you may have, so I'll open up the question and answer box here, and please feel free to type them in and I will answer them to the best of my ability. It says, your scanner helps identify the potentials to look at. Yes, just let me share with you what the process is. Every night, let's say you wanted to trade and look for the signals for the next day. If you recall in that, if you don't mind, let me just backtrack and I can show you where it is, okay? If you don't mind, I don't like to do this many times, but I'll just go to backtrack on the platform just to show you where it is. Okay, when you see the PTS Extreme Trainer here, you would click this on. And remember that drop-down menu appeared and you would click on the PTS highlight, the zone, the box. Well, below that, there's a feature that says scanner. That's what you would click on. That's how simple it is. You would click on the scanner, and the scanner page would automatically appear once you click that on. Okay, it would be a page next to your chart. You have an option of what market you want to trade. We provide you with symbol lists. So you could, in this case, if you were a commodity trader, you could decide, well, I want to trade commodities. You would click on the commodity list and it would automatically appear in seconds. You could click on what time frame. You could click on weekly bars, monthly bars. You can click on intraday bars, all right? Let's say you like to trade ETFs. Well, we have symbol lists for that. You would click on the symbol list. You would see ETFs right there. Click that on and then just simply hit scan. It's that simple. We can scan for European markets, Asian markets, okay? Currency pairs, futures, S&P 500. We furnish you with all these different markets. So once you decide which market you want to trade, let's say you want to trade the NASDAQ, okay? Click on NASDAQ. Click on scan. And this process takes about 30 seconds. You would see all the potential setups for the next day, either the buy or the sell or both, okay? And then you can decide, well, okay, let's see, where would I want to trade this? Do I want to enter here? Do I want to use one of the other entry techniques that Steve teaches in the course? Remember, I just showed you one idea today. There are multiple ways in which to trade this. I'll share with you in the course where to place your stop and different levels to place your stop. I'll share with you different ways to exit. We just shared with you one way to exit. So all these things you can decide the night before and decide if it's too much risk, or decide, well, I don't really like this stock, or decide if you want to trade options with it. It's entirely up to you, but we provide you with these high probability setups. So it's really, really a great tool, and we make it simple for you. Now, one of my pet peeves has always been scanners. I really have never liked scanners with other platforms because they're so complicated, and it literally takes you, if not, hours, maybe even days to figure out how to use them, okay? With the PTS-XT scanner, I mean, you literally have all the information within a minute or so, and then you can decide for the next day would you want to trade or if you want to trade or not. It's that simple. So it's a great, great tool, and we specifically designed it to be as simple as possible. Someone's asking, so you can scan for intraday setups? Yes, if you're an intraday trader, let's say you like to intraday trade stocks, you can, let's say, put up once again the NASDAQ 100, let's say a 15-minute bar. And you can scan what setups have been generated on the last 15-minute bar. Sure, it's that simple. Let's say you like to intraday trade currency pairs or intraday trade futures. You can do that as well. So it's just really a great tool. We've had rave reviews about it. That's why it's our most popular tool at this point. And once again, all I did was share with you one way in which to apply it. There are multiple ways to trade this. So it's your decision how you want to trade. There are some ways that are a little bit more risk involved. There's some ways that have less risk. There's some ways that will give you the most bang for your buck. There are other ways that get you in and out quickly. It's entirely up to you. But our job as an educator is simply to teach you these ways, okay? Okay, good question. what is the price of the platform after the first year? Well, after the first year, it will probably go to $97 a month. But remember, you have a full year to decide that. You don't have to worry about that right now because you're literally getting it for free for 1 full year. And here's one of the things I didn't mention. There are so many other things included. I just shared with you the tip of the iceberg of what we have on our platform. You also have the portfolio ability to trade and track your own portfolio. You can input whatever markets you're watching. It's a great way to invest by applying our platform. There are other techniques such as strategies included on that. There are other short-term techniques to look for trend, just a lot of different stuff that you can start applying with it. But you have a full year free usage along with the indicator and all the different applications involved, okay? Okay, good questions. Let me go forward here because it looks like there are no further questions. Let me just go forward. So I know a lot of you are asking what that link was again. Whoops, here it is right here. All you have to do is copy that link you see here on the bottom. It's not a live link, but if you go to the chat box on the far right, we've posted a live link and you can simply click that on, okay? Now, as we close here, remember, this is a great tool. You have to have a winning edge regardless of what you're trading, regardless if you're an intraday trader or if you're a position trader, if you like to hold on for a long-term portfolio. You have to have a winning edge. And then secondly, you have to be able to protect your profits that are being generated through that winning edge. The PTS-XT and the range extensions can help you do that. They are two great tools that are really designed to get you that success you're looking for. So please, don't hesitate. If you're really interested, contact Pro Trader Strategies. Call them at 310-598-6677. There's absolutely no obligation. They would be more than happy to give you a quote for a small deposit to put down for a payment plan, okay? Now, as we look at our disclaimer one last time, I just want to say thank you so much for attending, and I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PTS-XT Extreme Trend class. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day trading, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.